All right, let's check in on Paul Murphy, who joins us live in St. John Parish. Where are you now, Paul?
We are at the Percy Hebert building in LaPlace with Madam President Natalie Rowbottom, who has a message for her residents.
Yes, thank you very much for coming out here. We do want all of our residents to be cautious, continue to follow the weather, and of course, if you haven't signed up for parish alerts, please do so by going to sjbparish.com and clicking Stay Connected. That is our official source of information, but there is information on our government access channel as well as on our Facebook page. So again, specific to St. John Parish, we're asking that you sign up for that information. But on our part, we are monitoring the weather. We've had calls with Frank Rivette from the Weather Service as well as the Army Corps of Engineers. We're concerned about Lake Pontchartrain, which has risen about 2.5 feet since yesterday. And if any of you are watching it, you can see that. It started to have some flooding on Old Highway 51 and Peavine Road. So we've called for a voluntary evacuation of that area. In our conversations with the Weather Service, they are predicting possibly another 1 to 2 feet of surge into Lake Pontchartrain, which would cause some flooding or some street flooding in our low-lying areas and of course the subdivisions that are just south of the interstate. So if you had problems or you had problems during the 2016 flood, that's what we're anticipating. We're not necessarily anticipating house flooding, but if you have your vehicles on the roadway or you have to get out, make sure to plan for that and make sure if you're planning to stay in that you have everything that you need and you protect your valuables as well as your important papers.
So the storm surge at the west shore of Lake Pontchartrain is now at about 4 feet, right?
That's correct.
And you're expecting that surge to strengthen to another 2 feet. But during Isaac, which is the benchmark storm for this area for many people, that was actually an 8-foot surge, right?
That's correct. And at 8 feet, that would be water in our homes. But at 6 feet, it's primarily within the roadways. However, our additional concern is the 10 to 20 inches of rainfall. And we drain to Lake Pontchartrain. So if Lake Pontchartrain is at its level, then our internal drainage system will not work. So that's a concern for us as well. So again, we want our residents to be vigilant, to protect themselves and their property, and understand this is not primarily a wind event. It is a rain event and obviously a surge event. But as the tropical storm moves more westerly, that improves for us. And we're anticipating a wind change tomorrow that will stop the water from pushing in, but it won't necessarily begin to drain until Monday.
And you do have some voluntary evacuations, correct?
Yes, that's for the Peavine and Frenier area and Acres, all the areas north of the interstate, and of course low-lying areas. If you live there, you know you flood during these types of events. Of course, we're encouraging you to leave and find somewhere safe. Many of these individuals will remove their vehicles because they know the roadway floods. So if that's their concern, we suggest that they move to higher ground. And if they're uncertain, I would be cautious and move my vehicle into a safe area because we're just not sure exactly where the rainfall is going to come. We are watching and getting updates on a regular basis, but at this point, the meteorologists aren't sure either.
And as we speak at a little after 2 o'clock this afternoon, all of the roads remain open in St. John Parish, but you do have your eye on LA 51, correct? Especially in the Rudock area.
That's correct. And you know that we're having our 2 o'clock meeting now. A representative from the Department of Transportation is there. We have staged some barricades for that area because we know it floods very quickly. So we're watching it closely. We have cameras on quite a few of our canals and Peavine and lots of intersections that sometimes gives us trouble. So we're watching those live to know if we need to make some changes there. But for the most part, our employees are out and about. Our pumps are working. All of them are working. We actually have some additional temporary pumps from CPRA that are here that we're going to put in certain areas to facilitate what we already have. But a large part of our parish drains by gravity. So that's a concern for us depending on the level of the lake. And again, that should turn around by Monday. But until then, we're going to watch the rain very carefully and, of course, monitor the lake and all of our canal levels, which at this point, they're not rising at all. So we have every 4 hours, we get a reading on the canals throughout the parish, and at this point they're unaffected.
Thank you very much, St. John Parish President Natalie Rowbottom. Again, keeping an eye on the storm here in St. John Parish. That's the story here in St. John. Paul Murphy, Eyewitness News.